Did any of you guys play XDefiant? The free-to-play 6v6 first-person shooter released by Ubisoft in May of last year? I really enjoyed the game, and dare I say it, even preferred it to the crackhead fiesta that is Black Ops 6.
Thank you. Watch requesting hard bob spot.
No, this is big.
Yeah, this shit's cancer. I don't want to play it anymore. In December 2024, Ubisoft announced that they would be sunsetting the game and shutting it down in June 2025. Quick editor's note, this video should have come out months ago, back when this game had a modicum of relevance. I could use school and this channel being a one-man shop as excuses, but I'm gonna be honest, it's because I got distracted by other games. I'd been loosely following the game since it was announced, and started playing on day one. This was the kind of game that I like, but made by the wrong people. I don't think the game would have been the COD killer it was hyped up to be, but it could have been a source of healthy competition for the genre. Unfortunately, the only way XDefiant truly emulated Call of Duty was by only lasting a year. So, why did it die? Here's my reasons for XDefiant's demise. Netcode and hit registration. I don't have any footage from when I played XDefiant at launch, but I can tell you hit registration was god-awful. I was dumping about 1 mag per kill, and yet my opponents would be deleting me in the blink of an eye. At the time, I described it to my friends as the fastest, slow-paced game I've ever played. The bad hit registration forced us to play slow and careful, yet the sprint speed, the sliding, the character abilities encouraged us to play at a fast pace. It should go without saying, but hit registration is one of the most fundamental mechanics of any shooter game. In one of Exclusive Ace's videos, he mentioned client-side hit markers.
Or even worse, you get client-side hit markers in this game, so you get a hit marker on your screen, but that damage wasn't actually accepted by the server, and therefore it looks like you should have dealt damage, but you didn't actually deal damage to them. I find that to be very frustrating. It's not a super common occurrence for me, but when it happens, I definitely get super annoyed with that.
Without getting too technical, the idea of having hit markers being client-side, which is the only explanation we have for what we experienced pre-Season 1, is so unfathomably stupid. All of the action is happening on the servers, so there is no reason why hit markers, an indication of successful hit registration, should be calculated on the client's side. When you've got bad netcode or bad internet connection, this will show users that they've successfully gotten hits, while the opponent doesn't take damage because the server essentially said, no you didn't. If you cannot get this fundamental part of a shooter correct, your game is doomed. The Season 1 update significantly improved hit registration, for me at least, but I could tell the damage was done. Large numbers of people had left and it showed. No skill-based matchmaking. XDefiant made the bold choice of not including any skill-based matchmaking in their game. For those who don't know, skill-based matchmaking is when the relative skill of players is factored in when matching them with teammates and opponents. On paper, no skill-based matchmaking sounds great, since many Call of Duty players were complaining and getting fed up with skill-based matchmaking. Mathematical algorithms tinkering with who is placed into each match in the hopes of optimizing player engagement became very predictable. If you went on a winning streak, you would be due for a few matches of ass-whooping to bump you down to your normal level. Call of Duty Cold War and Rainbow Six Siege had made me despise skill-based matchmaking, because it made playing with friends at varying skill levels an unenjoyable experience. Opponents are scaled to the best player present to prevent exploits, which meant that one person could spike the group into a much higher bracket than they're supposed to be. In theory, no skill-based matchmaking would provide players with a variety of opponents. Some easy games, some hard games, and some in between. In practice, though, this was not a good idea.
Got it. Hey, Michael. I never once died or came off of the thing.
We did that in under 3 minutes, dog.
Look at that. 6 kills, 0 deaths. Look at my objective score. It was only me on it the whole fucking time. I never came off of it.
Ready for action.
Oh wow, Michael. Okay. Holy shit, you just went crazy. And nice.
3 minutes, 6 seconds.
You're on defense. Deny that package.
One of the worst realizations to make as someone who enjoys FPS games is that skill-based matchmaking, this mechanic I had grown to hate, was made to protect me. I was never under any illusion that I'm really good at shooters, but I never thought that I was the demographic being protected by SBMMs.
We're facing mission
I always saw it
failure,
as,
Agent.
oh, it's protecting those shitty players. I didn't think I was the shitty player in question.
I'll allow it.
XDefiant had a welcome playlist for players under level 25. The moment I left the welcome playlist, the fun I was having took a massive nosedive. I quickly learned that I could not compete with people level 80 plus, sporting technicolored skins that had to have been paid for, and mastery camos on their guns that required double, if not triple, my playtime.
I don't even think that's from a battle pass. They bought that.
Yeah, probably.
Money. PlayStation.
No one on our team went positive.
PlayStation. It's a PlayStation 6 stack, all 100, level 100 plus in XDefiant. Steven, that's what we just went against.
Sounds fun.
In matches I was getting my ass beat, I couldn't even leave and queue for a different match. With how few players there were, I would routinely get put back into the same match that I had just left. I guess the developers were aware of this dilemma because they expanded the welcome playlist to include level 40 and under in October. The only thing keeping me playing the game after leaving the welcome playlist was my stubbornness to unlock the achievements. This experience cuts both ways. As bad as I am at first-person shooters, there are people worse than me. Especially when playing with my friend Chris, who's a lot better at shooters than I am. God damn it, are you fucking kidding me?
It was an okay fight. Would have been better if you won.
Same. Oh, no, it's different.
Okay. Okay. I was like, damn, I knew it was me because that's my emote.
I thought it was the Jay on a perk guy who got MVP. I was like, no fucking way he gets MVP.
No, I
games in a row.
I blew him out of the water in this game, but I kept destroying him.
Sure, stomping people felt good in the moment, but with how lopsided some of these matches were, I couldn't help but feel bad for some of the people I played against. The escort game mode specifically was very easy to snowball and eventually spawn trap your opponents. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that most people don't like feeling helpless. So what's the likelihood that someone's gonna come back for more? If you look up the definition of cyberbullying, this game is...
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Jesus.
Victory
Fuck.
is
Oh
addictive.
my god, they didn't even move an inch. That's...
They did, but we pushed it back.
yeah.
Look at our objective score. We had 9K between me and you.
Yeah.
Fearless, we're not toxic. We're not comms. We're different than them.
Yeah.
We didn't even coordinate that. We just ran it.
We were just that much better.
Yeah, it's not toxic, you're just good.
Exactly. Poor player retention. At XDefiant's launch in May, the game managed to reach over 1 million players. However, the rumor back in August was less than 20,000 players across all platforms. 20,000 players may have been sufficient for some games, but Ubisoft is in a situation where they need a big win. The low player count is also a cyclical issue. XDefiant is free to play, so there's no buy-in. There's no sunk cost to keep people playing if they don't enjoy it anymore. I have several friends who stuck with Call of Duty games long after they stopped having fun because they bought the game or they bought the battle pass, and abandoning it would be a waste. XDefiant had missed their window to sweep in and capitalize on low enthusiasm. There was a decent amount of hype for XDefiant during Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2's life cycle, but by the time XDefiant launched in 2024, Modern Warfare 3 was out. While the campaign and zombies were complete and utter dog shit, yes, I played both of them, multiplayer and Warzone were good enough, so the audience XDefiant was hoping to capture were no longer in desperate need for an alternative. XDefiant had to be a better alternative to get people to stay, and they weren't. The hit registration issues at launch probably didn't make a good first impression. If the players aren't having fun, they'll just uninstall. Okay, so this is a bit of a side rant that may only be applicable to Xbox. The Series X has a 1TB SSD. Both Series X exclusive and Series X enhanced games, which are Xbox One games that have been upgraded to utilize the newer console's hardware, must be stored on an SSD to be played. I have about 800 gigabytes of usable space, which means that I can fit about 10 to 12 games. Each game has to earn its spot on my internal storage because expansion cards for the Series X are exclusively Seagate and expensive. 512 gigabytes for $90, 1 terabyte for $150, and 2 terabytes for $280. I explain all of this so I can pose the question: is XDefiant good enough to demand 50 gigabytes of my SSD? No, not really. If XDefiant wasn't shutting down and I wasn't making a video on it, I would have uninstalled it already. The low player count in tandem with skill-based matchmaking creates a cyclical decline that's hard to break out of. The die-hard fans, known as sweats, you know, the people who treat the game like it's a job, they will never leave XDefiant because it's their game. But the casual players will.
Michael, there's a
man,
level
never.
183 on the enemy team. There's a 205 on our team.
Oh my god.
They're gonna be really sad when this game goes.
Yeah, when the game server shut off.
The more casual players that leave the game, the more often the remaining casual players will encounter sweats, creating a feedback loop that slowly bleeds players. Hey, you can call me trash all you like, but getting demolished by a bunch of sweats is just not fun. Jesus Christ, this guy's sweaty. Oh, he's level 281. Okay, that makes sense. A low player count also hinders the game's growth by turning the onboarding process into new players getting smacked around by more experienced players until it clicks or they quit. That's major?
A founder of the
Holy.
Yeah, they were all focusing on my turret. My turret was outside the door and I was shooting them. So you pulled up behind them.
I know XDefiant's player count was bad enough for it to be an issue with new players because in the weeks leading up to the shutdown announcement, Chris and I were struggling to find matches in the welcome playlist, and were forced to queue in the normal playlist just so we could find a match. Low player spending. According to an Insider Gaming article by Tom Henderson, XDefiant was struggling with a lack of player spending, to which I have to say, well, no shit. Despite the whole premise of the game being multiple Ubisoft franchises combined into one game, the game does not include a single recognizable character. Why? I was really looking forward to the Rainbow Six season, and then I saw what they added. Hey, to their credit, the clubhouse map was a pretty good mix of familiar but new. But then there's the faction. The GS Commando? Their abilities are Blitz's Shield, Bandit's Shockwire, and Jaeger's ADSs. But I see the characters and I'm thinking, who are you? I look through this whole cast of no names and generics, and I don't care about a single one of them. Melee looks okay, and has a skin-tight stealth suit, which feeds into my next point that I wish more game devs understood. You can't throw a list of generic characters at an audience and expect them to immediately care about them. Without something deeper like spending time with characters in a single-player campaign or recognition from other media, the things that draw players to characters on your roster are going to be very surface level. Hey, surface level is not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that if your game is free to play and thus dependent on microtransaction sales to stay afloat, your cosmetics have to be good. Let me go through the skins I've bought in Siege and walk you through why I bought them. Fuse is my favorite character in the game. Blowing shit up with cluster charges is so much fun. The elite skin fits the theme of the character and gives something cool to show off on the MVP screen. I started playing Cav a lot, and Hot Brazilian Woman. Need I say more? Come on, just look at it. It's so BM. I couldn't resist. What? It looks goofy as shit. It's purely for shock value. Potential hot take. I never really liked how Twitch's default outfit looked. I like the braid and the fox mask a lot more. I also started using Twitch after buying this bundle. Until they nerfed the F2. I started playing Capcan a lot, and I didn't have any good skins for him. That's it. Honestly, all the Halloween skins are so good. I chose Legions to buy because I got a piece of it for free from a pack and then just bought the rest. I plead the fifth. See what I mean though? When you compare XDefiant skins, they're all kinda shit. You don't have to go to the degree of Marvel Rivals or The First Descendant, but you gotta make your skins visually interesting. Bright, flashy colors seem to get people to buy skins in Call of Duty and Fortnite, but it didn't really work in XDefiant. Most of the skins look kinda generic and plain, but the handful of colorful skins XDefiant does have are missing that, cool factor. Seeing these skins makes me think, that's weird, instead of, ooh, I want to buy that. You know, I feel like when it comes to video games, your taste in cosmetics is that of a magpie.
Elaborate.
Magpies are birds attracted to really shiny things.
Alright, fuck you.
You look through the battle pass, it's like, alright, that skin's cool, that skin's cool. Ooh, shiny. I'm kind of struggling to articulate my point here because I can't specifically pinpoint what makes good character design and good costume design, but I do know what I would spend my money on. I would not spend my money on 99% of the shit that's in XDefiant's store. And I know I'm not too far off the mark because enough people have to think the same way for XDefiant to be struggling with low player spending. The Halloween skins are pretty cool looking, but you're off your fucking rocker if you think I'm gonna pay $30 for these 3 skins bundled together. They should have taken a page out of Fortnite's book and sold stuff as both individual items and as bundles, instead of just bundles. After Ubisoft announced the game would be sunsetting, they made all the cosmetic items available for everyone to use. I didn't even realize there were that many skins and emotes because no one ever used them. Familiar characters could have easily been monetized. I would have paid a couple bucks to play as Jaeger, Bandit, IQ, and Blitz. Instead, we got Stark, Captain, and Krieger. Who are these clowns? Do you not think Assassin's Creed fans would have paid a couple bucks to play as Ezio, Altair? What about Danny Rojas or Giancarlo Esposito's character from Far Cry 6? The Echelon's Ultra ability is Sam Fisher's pistol. So, where's Sam Fisher? I think you get the point. They also sold emojis, which were part of their commendation system. The emojis came across as very, how do you do, fellow kids? Yeah, imagine having a really cringeworthy username.
Michael, like me. Wait, someone else liked you? What the fuck? I have a 4.7!
It's because of my name, bro.
This is where having a humorous name is an advantage because you get more XP points from commendations.
Because a bunch of people are also
Immature as shit. Yeah. The only piece of constructive criticism I can wrap this section up with is just, if you want players to spend money in your game, you have to add things that they'd want to buy. In December 2024, XDefiant put out their last update with all the content they had in the works. They had some pretty interesting stuff planned, like the Assassins from Assassin's Creed, a Far Cry Blood Dragon faction, and some genuinely creative maps. Moo. Bro, why are you zooming?
Why do I have like no gravity? What the fuck?
Reloading. Cover me.
Holy fuck, yeah.
Why do I have no wait, jump. What the fuck? Explode when they die.
Are you sure we're not queued up for a special mode?
It shouldn't be, it's a team deathmatch and we all voted on it.
Remember earlier how I said they unlocked all of the game's content? Well, they relocked some of it with this update. Do you seriously expect people to grind your game for content that's gonna be gone in less than a year? Are you out of your fucking mind? This unlocking and relocking of content resurrected a complaint that I had about the game pretty early on. Balancing. The factions and their abilities added another layer of balancing that at many times clashed with the focus on gunplay. Take the Highwaymen from Season 2. They have a passive called Revved, a bonus to reload and fire rate that stacks with your first 4 consecutive kills up to 25% total. Meaning, after getting 4 kills, you have a 25% fire rate boost to whatever gun you're using, and reload 25% faster. That alone makes me question who thought that this was balanced. But it gets worse. The Highwayman's rechargeable ability is a sentry turret. And yes, kills with the sentry turret contribute to the passive bonus. You're supposed to counter them by playing DeadSec and hacking the sentry turrets, which I found out after all the factions were unlocked. The Highwaymen were part of Season 2's Battle Pass, and DeadSec were part of the Deluxe Edition of the game. I understand the logic behind locking the strongest factions behind a paywall because this is a business after all, but it adds another barrier to entry, and XDefiant couldn't afford to push anybody away with an actively shrinking player base of 20,000. Wait, no, less than 20,000. These gadgets, abilities, and specific counterplay seem like they're intended for audiences similar to Siege, Valorant, and Overwatch, but an arcade shooter with no skill-based matchmaking seem to be catering to the Call of Duty crowd. Trying to appease both crowds with one game is going to make balancing a headache. They clearly want the factions to be impactful, but make them too strong, and faction choice becomes more important than the gunplay. Dive bombing explosive drones, facehugger robots, temporary wall hacks, hacking enemy gadgets, a sentry turret, and temporary invisibility. Yeah, those definitely cross the line of becoming more important than whatever gun you choose or your reaction time. I've spent the last however many minutes shitting on this game, but as I said in the beginning, I liked this game. It had problems and bad design choices, sure, but I think it's also fair to point out the things that it did get right. Once the hit registration issues were worked out, the gunplay felt pretty good. The time to kill wasn't fast to the point where you couldn't react, but fast enough where it's still possible to get multiple kills in quick succession. The map design and time to kill together made for really good pacing. It didn't feel like I had to snort lines of G Fuel to keep up, but also didn't have to tiptoe around paranoid that there's some bush Wookiee waiting around the corner. The gun recoil and aim assist were a nice middle ground between Call of Duty and Siege. Two games I spent a lot of time going back and forth between. The movement felt a little floaty in the beginning, but I ended up growing to like it. The maps. Phenomenal. From all the time I put into Cold War, I despised the maps because I quickly learned the spots people use to camp and spawn trap opponents. I cannot tell you the amount of matches I've played in Cold War where someone would be locking down one, if not two, of the 3 lanes on any given map in an uncontestable angle with an LMG or a sniper rifle. Each XDefiant map has enough flanking routes and elevation where camping and spawn trapping in 6v6 wasn't really an issue for me. It makes me kind of sad that these designs are going to waste. People who enjoyed older Call of Duty games seem to like XDefiant, just not enough to make the jump away from Call of Duty. There's also a larger implication with XDefiant's shutdown. Ubisoft is financially in the shitter, with no sign of recovery. Other games like Rainbow Six Siege could end up next on the chopping block if it gets bad enough. And with Siege X just around the corner, adopting a free-to-play model just like XDefiant, it has me pretty concerned. Ubisoft's decline has already been covered extensively by many other channels, so that's not something I'm going to get into here. It's also just disappointing watching new release after new release just nosedive into the ground. I don't remember seeing this many high-profile failures back in high school. All of these short-lived flops with bizarre game-killing design choices make it difficult to get excited for any new release. Still, I had fun with the game, and I guess that counts for something. Goodbye, XDefiant. You tried.
The PC guys quit. Both of them then.
Mission accomplished.
Nailed
They
it.
both quit because they weren't gonna win.
Sweaty bastards.
Only this one stayed. The other one quit.
It's gonna ruin my KD in a dying game.
It's gonna ruin my win-loss ratio.
Alright, well that's all done. Kind of crazy to think that I've been sitting on this script for like 7 months now. If any of you guys played XDefiant, let me know what your experience was and what you thought of it in the comments down below. I've been playing a lot of Wizard 101 and Oblivion Remaster, so I'm hoping to make a video on each of those relatively soon. Alright, thanks for watching to the end. Later, nerds.